go ahead and get started. So I'd love to introduce Haley and Matt, who will be presenting today.
Hi, everyone. My name's Haley Loch. I'm account associate on the Google team at Burwood Group. I want to thank you for joining us today as we dive into the world of AI and how Google Workspace is building tools that empower both educators and students. And AI is no longer a futuristic concept. It's here and it's practical, but more importantly, it's now accessible in ways that directly serve education. From personalized support for students to time-saving features for faculty and admin teams, Google's AI tools are designed with education first in mind. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to take a look at Google's current AI offerings, specifically those that are integrated into Workspace for Education. So first we have Gemini, which is Google's flagship AI assistant. And you may have heard it previously called a few other names, including Bard, but Gemini seems to be the term that's here to stay. It supports a wide range of conversations from general research to teaching workflows, and it includes two primary user experiences: Deep Research for detailed exploration and Experimental Pro for creative, open-ended use cases. Gemini is also capable of grounding, which means it can tailor responses using structured input or user-provided content, which is often called GEMs. Next is Notebook LM, which is a powerful tool that's often misunderstood. While it can help with podcast creation, its real power lies in its dynamic notebook capabilities. So students and educators can upload materials, notes, readings, PDFs, and interact directly with their content through AI. It can summarize, extract insights, help generate ideas, and much more. And then finally, there's Agent Space, which is a newer solution for IT and institutional use. This lets you create custom AI agents and plug into your existing data systems. So instead of moving your data to the cloud, Agent Space brings AI to where your data already lives. And these agents can be used to streamline operations, support your internal requests, and drive automation securely. So Gemini for Education, there are 3 CMCC compliant options. All of them are, important for data protection. There's the free tier, which is included with Workspace for Education Fundamentals. This requires admin enablement and provides access to a limited number of models, which is ideal for small scale pilots or safe experimentation. Then there's Gemini Education, which is the entry paid tier. You get up to 1,000 prompts per user, plus reporting tools to monitor your use. And then features are delayed compared to the premium tier, but they're great for broader rollouts. And then the Gemini Premium, which offers the newest models, unlimited prompts, and integration across Google Workspace apps. For example, you can ask Gemini to summarize a Google Meet, draft follow-up docs, or help build a slide deck right from inside the apps that already exist. All right, so we're going to talk about how these tools can be used across departments. So from administrative workflows to instructional planning and student support, AI can help streamline repetitive tasks and improve engagement. For example, curriculum teams can use Gemini to co-develop course outlines or instructional materials. IT departments can deploy Agent Space to build agents that handle internal help desk queries. Special education teams can build GEMs for IEP support or content accessibility. And advising or counseling departments can also use Notebook LM to keep better notes and surface insights more quickly. But we're going to explore what Gemini GEMs looks like from a professor's point of view next. All right.
Okay, sorry, one second. I'm opening it up. And while I do, any questions so far from our audience or Matt, anything to add as we're thinking about using Google's unique tools across campuses?
No, I would just say that's very versatile. As we look at the different personas of leveraging these tools, I think that's what we're going to get into with the demo, but it's very exciting to see what different calibers, what different personas can take advantage of these and best how to bring these core solutions and benefits to the forefront at these universities.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, Haley, we're ready with the demo.
Alrighty, so what exactly are gems? So gems are custom-built AI experiences that live inside of Gemini. So you can think of them like mini AI assistants that are tailored for a specific task, like a math tutor, a writing coach, or even a research assistant. And the beauty with gems is that they're easy to create. You don't have to do any coding, and they respond with a tone, style, and depth that you define. So this particular one, we've already went ahead and given it a personality or how we want it to approach the topics that we're going to be discussing. Um, so we're going to imagine that we're a professor. So we're maybe teaching product management or a related course, and you're looking for ways to save time while delivering high quality student-centered instruction. With a custom built gem, you can have an AI assistant that thinks like you, responds in your tone, and helps manage repetitive or time consuming tasks. So, first, I'll ask the gem to review an assignment from a perspective of a student. It'll identify confusing instructions, it'll flag potential questions, and even help generate a ready to go FAQ sheet. So, we're going to prompt it with, can you review this assignment like a student? Identify potential questions or issues that students may have. Give me suggested changes to improve the assignment instructions to make them as clear as possible, and then generate an FAQ sheet to preempt additional questions. And this is great because it allows for a professor to pre-plan his lecture. He's able to identify if the concepts are going to be too difficult to digest or prepare him ahead of time to answer additional questions that may rise in depth. And then with the FAQ on the fly, he's able to narrow down the sections of his lessons that he may need to dive deeper into. Okay, so now we'll prompt it to draft 3 assignment ideas for helping students understand user personas, which is something every product management student should grasp. So we're going to prompt it with draft 3 ideas to help students understand user personas. Perfect. All right. And so this is hugely important, again, because you're able to have that specific assignments already ready for you to go, already able to go create a lecture based on it. And it's helping those students be able to grasp the concept of, the different user personas within their course. All right, so next we'll move into content creation and have the gem generate a short lecture outline on MVPs, minimum viable product, with examples. So by having this, our professor easily has notes available to keep him on task during his lecture. He's highlighting the most important concepts and share pre-identified examples of MPP in action. But what if the lecture isn't exactly how you want it to be portrayed? No worries. With Gemini's quick adoption of personality tones, we can easily fix that as well. So we can tell it, you're a product management professor who prefers concise, research-backed responses with a conversational tone. Please rewrite this lecture intro to match that style. And now that professor could easily adopt and ingrain more of his or her own personality into the lecture itself. And so this takes the knowledge and teaching expertise that you already have and scales it up with AI. So you're not being replaced, you're being amplified. All right. So we're going to turn to the students for a moment because Notebook LM might just be the most student-friendly tool in Google's AI lineup. It's the one I'm personally most excited about. It's a fantastic tool. Notebook LM is like a smart study assistant, so students can upload class notes, readings, lecture slides, whatever they're working on, and the tool will turn that into a living, searchable, AI-powered notebook. So they can summarize long tests instantly, they can ask questions about their own content, they can stay organized across subjects, and they can get help with hard to understand topics. So we'll go ahead and walk through a few demo prompts to really show you its potential in action. Before we dive in, one bonus feature that I want to highlight is the podcast tool. This allows students to turn their uploaded content, like notes or readings, into an audio format, which is a game changer for auditory learners or students who want to review material while commuting, at the gym, or even doing chores. So it's just another way that Notebook LM supports different learning styles and makes it accessible. So let's explore how students might actually interact with Notebook LM once they've uploaded materials from that project management course that we were talking about before. So we're going to ask it to summarize the key points from my lecture on the product lifecycle. So once we get that, it's taking all of the information from across everything that we've uploaded into the Notebook LM. So literally everything from my notes to video lectures to PDFs to quizzes, etc. Everything that I could possibly put in here, it puts in. And this shows how quickly Notebook LM can condense a lot of information into a digestible format. So now that student has the really important highlights of what they need to take away from all of the many notes and information that they've been taught throughout the whole course. And everything's cited too, which is really great. So if, it pulls up, there's numbers after everything that it's taking and spitting back at us so that we're able to click on the individual sites, and it will take us to the exact document or source that it pulled the information from so that we can really dive in if we needed a deeper view on that specific topic. Another great example of Notebook LM's ability to condense or highlight important information is this prompt. Generate a study guide for quiz 2. And once we get that in, this highlights how the tool can help students prep efficiently and stay organized. So now they're able to have exactly the information that they need to study in order to take their quiz effectively. So they can have exactly what they need. They're able to look at, every topic that's going to be covered based on the unit work that's been input into Notebook LM. And they're taking the notes and the concepts that are most important so that they're studying the stuff that actually matters for the test, which is great. And again, it's all cited so that they can go back and look at it in deeper information if they need to. All right. Now we also have the students who struggle with the get going part of paper writing. And that's not an issue for Notebook LM because Notebook LM can help narrow down that very common struggle. You could ask it, what example could I use to illustrate a product market fit challenge in my final paper? And this prompt demonstrates how Notebook LM supports deeper academic writing and research and allows the student an example suggestion to build around and get going on that paper. And what about the students who write everything down but struggle with note relevance? Notebook LM can empower that student at their learning style by changing the way that the information was presented. So we could say, I don't understand what a product roadmap is. Can you explain it simply using my notes? Because again, the student has already input all of the notes they've taken on their class into Notebook LM. And this shows how Notebook LM can personalize explanations and help bridge the knowledge gaps based on each student's own content, making that student more successful at understanding note takeaways and preparing for future exams. So tools like Notebook LM and Gemini are not shortcuts. They're scalable support systems that help students and educators alike become more effective, creative, and informed. They encourage independent learning, they help students engage deeper, and they reduce time spent searching or second guessing. Giving students access to these tools isn't about lowering expectations, it's about helping them do more with what they already have and unlock new ways to learn or grow. And in a world where technology continues to evolve rapidly, giving your campus access to ethical, secure, and practical AI can help ensure that you're preparing your community, not just for school, but also for the future. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Matthew so he can touch on agent space.
Thanks, Haley. That was awesome. And actually, I can't help but call out, first of all, fantastic job walking through that, Haley. A lot of excellent use cases. Just it's easy to forget that there a lot of people learn differently. So having access to that that information and being able to drill down and have that information grounded, and the links that are there, whether you learn, by hearing it from an audio, hearing that podcast generation, that's fantastic, but also the visual aspect with the mind map component, and being able to drill through and explore that data. I can't express how, once you start doing that and using it, you can find all sorts of scenarios where you have more than a single PDF, but stacks and reams of resources that you're either new to or you want to organize and you're very familiar with. And it's a very powerful set of tools that Haley just walked through. So again, awesome. Agent space. We're actually building out some of these capabilities with our existing clients. As Haley touched on, it's a rapidly evolving space, but real quick, high level, behind the scenes, leveraging Gemini, that sort of opens the door to a lot of the capabilities. So before I get into that, data silos. This is not a new problem. There is more data than there's ever been before, kind of by definition, but that data is often siloed. And even if you personally have access to it, being able to access it in a timely way, without your brain being the sort of the workspace to be able to pull it all together, Agent Space helps cut down those silos. And so what does that look like? So your data, instead of saying, hey, pull all of your data in to Google Cloud's Agent Space and bring it all over here, it keeps your data exactly where it is. So whether that's in SharePoint or Salesforce or first-party solutions like obviously Google Drive and other connectors and Calendar, but a variety of disparate data sources, hundreds, in fact, at this point, there's connectors. And so you can come into your existing environment, connect those up, and now a lot of the things that Haley was just walking through are very relevant, meaning what could you do if you had not just this database or this file store over here, but now you can pull it all together and do it in a way where it's timely. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go do that next Tuesday, or in a batch style. You basically have access to that at your fingertips, combined with what Haley was just walking through with Gemini, Gems, Notebook LM. You're able to break down those silos, connect, unify that data, and take action. And so that could be, where you're actually interacting with the data of saying, okay, I have access to all of this material, go take action, go set up this meeting for me with the colleagues that I need to, or go help me build out this new campaign or proposal based on these disparate data sources that could be in Slack channels or in those shared drives and other information repositories. And the key part is two, beyond just the use cases I'm starting to walk through, is there's the security aspect. Google has a fantastic differentiator here where not only do you get to keep your existing data where it is, you can connect to it. And if Haley happens to have access to a lot of different resources, and I might only have access to a subset, that's captured. You don't need to worry about me suddenly gaining access to things that I wouldn't normally have access to as I interact with Agent Space. And so there's a security component, there's a ease of connectivity to it. But let's walk through a little bit more here. So some of the things on the screen, if my intent here, I would welcome questions at the end, but also it's worth a follow-up. Whether, this is rapidly changing. So the things we're going to be walking through, you might have questions about like, what can I connect to this data source? And that's a pretty easy answer. I can show you the list. But how could you use it? That's what some of the things on the screen are intended to convey, with the idea that follow up. We're happy to walk through. We have our internal Agent Space. We're happy to walk through what's relevant to our existing clients where we're working with them to be able to deploy this. But to walk through some specific examples, you could connect to some data sources and go build out a new campaign. I could either say, hey, I have this new course that I want to create. I'm drawing upon these existing ones, but I want to reformat them, or here's this new standards document or new research that's come out. I want to take that into account. Help me build out that new course. So you can certainly do some of those things in Notebook LM sort of as an individual, but if you have disparate teams that are working on some of this information, you can have that surface without you having to go interact. If you know a different professor has done some of this work, you might have that in your head, but you might not be aware of 4 or 5 other professors or sets of information that you could pull on to go do that in a more timely way or a more complete way in an enhanced way. I also want to call out that there's basically four areas here. So there's search. surfacing that information in those silos. There's a summarization aspect of course, like, great news, I found this information and I just have, 500 pages of PDFs to go pour through. Use the power of the tools to go summarize that for you. So that's a component. There's the generation aspect. Haley touched on that as well, but that's kind of upped a little bit here with Agent Space, where you can actually go build out things that just simply haven't existed before without you having to manually pull down this information and manually pull down this other information. You now can go generate things. And so you can get, again, the point isn't necessarily to remove the need for you to have your human eye and brain thinking through these things, but to be able to get a first pass, make sure you're touching on all the things you wanted to touch on, matching a certain template, use the tools for what they're good for. And so the actions piece is where you can actually interact with either pre-configured or custom agents that take actions and streamline workflows. So I know this was very high level. I actually would look forward to anyone that would like to follow up and do a real live demo in an actual live environment. We will likely be sharing some of those out relatively soon, but I just wanted to cover some of the high level scenarios, use cases, and happy to answer questions after this. With that, I think we actually have, yeah, that one's great, Corey. Yeah. So I think between Matt, Mark, Haley, and myself, we can probably walk through this. I'll take a first pass at it if you want, Matt, and then hand it over to you. But effectively, I'll go back to a couple of things I've already touched on, Haley, as well. Things are moving quickly. A lot of our existing clients need to understand what does this mean to them. That can be from a compliance perspective, security perspective, what options are available, how not to sort of paint yourself in the corner, have a holistic view, how to surface that to the broader community internally, and be able to build sort of that internal knowledge at our existing clients on their side so that they can go support all their stakeholders. And so the things that are outlined here is like, what's going to be most impactful. Obviously, the weak points, I already touched on some of the security and how much of a lift is it to actually go connect to these data sources. The feedback piece is kind of key. Any of the folks that we've already worked with that know me or my team, there's always a loop of basically like do something, get the feedback, and then come back and apply those lessons learned. That's kind of probably one of the most important pieces beyond some of the basic foundational pieces. If you can get that feedback loop going, you can be wildly successful. I'll say that the other pieces are sort of self-explanatory. We're here to help. I'll sort of hand over some of the time here.
Yeah.
Time for questions.
Yeah, and I think it'd be helpful too, just to kind of dig into these building blocks as they were a bit. So like the evaluating impact, evaluating the impact of those AI initiatives you have already undertaken or are looking to take on, right? As Matthew said, understanding the progress is vital to informing your future direction. Some universities may have embarked on this journey. I know there's a few on here that have, and some may be just getting started. Understanding what that impact is instrumental as the first step. Identifying those weak points, right? As you look to embrace AI, it's crucial to acknowledge, the challenges, the weak points you could or have encountered. Identifying some of these areas allows you to build a more robust, sustainable AI strategy designed for long-term success. And as Matthew mentioned, the feedback loop, the continuing on iteration, that is not going to go away, right, as we are in the era of AI. So gathering that feedback from your diverse university community, your faculty, your students, your researchers, your administrators, your staff, is fundamental to the success of your AI roadmap. These experiences and perspectives, from these folks are invaluable. They're helping what's shaping what that overall journey looks like. Having that loop to continue to iterate on is a must, right? I can't stress that enough. The landscape of AI is changing quickly. I think we can all agree on that. And having that feedback is instrumental in fostering that needed progression. Identifying some of those next steps. This portion of the roadmap sets sights not only on the current, but the next wave, right, of AI applications that hold significant promise for advancing your university's mission and those strategic goals. As we sit here today, I'm sure, rest assured, there will be a whole new array of new and exciting solutions ahead. Some of the things we're mentioning and we're talking about here were not around 6 months ago or even a few months ago. So it's only going to get better. I think there was a phrase that the worst AI will ever be is today, right? And I do think that rings true. And I would say outside of that feedback loop, the training aspect on this, to realize the full potential of these current and next AI targets, investing in that AI fluency for your faculty, for your staff, for your students is absolutely paramount. These training programs are designed to empower your community, to confidently and effectively engage with AI. And then kind of that last building block there is sharing stories. Sharing stories, sharing the success stories of AI implementation across your university is crucial for building momentum, demonstrating that value, and inspiring further exploration and innovation. Vice versa, it's also good to talk about sharing those points of improvement, lessons learned, right? We'll round out that complete story to help you shape the future directions and needs of AI at your university. All that to be said, we are here to help. The intent around the webinar is we want to be that helpful partner. We want to go on this journey with you, and we feel we can be very impactful throughout these steps and be the partner that you feel confident you can leverage to access this AI journey. Mark, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm just going to say one thing here. I know we're out of time, but I just want to give a plug to our user group. We have a Burwood user group for Google Higher Education, where we have, I think we work with over 100 different institutions, higher ed institutions now. I think our next one's coming up soon. I don't know when, but it's coming up where it's like it's a user group, so we're getting able to talk about things like this. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the next topic of discussion in our next user group. So encourage everyone who isn't already attending that to attend that, and we can send a link out for that. But again, like Matt and Matthew said, and Haley, what we're seeing today, a lot of customers buying a handful of licenses, dozens of them maybe, and rolling them out slowly, and which is great. But we want to make sure that before you're embarking on the entire institution, getting licenses for these things, let's talk about what that strategy looks like. How do you deploy those, and how do you enable it, right? So the training and adoption of that is super important. We have a team here at Burwood that focuses on that. So you're not just buying licenses that sit there unused. We can teach the staff or the students even how do you use them, specifically the staff. Like how can you take advantage of the tools that the institution is providing to you? We could we can develop custom education materials for that to get folks some enablement around those tools so they can maximize your spend on those. That's all from me.
Yeah. And I think just this last slide, kind of a testament to our commitment to our universities that we support. As you can see there at the top, Partner of the Year, U.S. Education 2025, woohoo. And then also a bunch of the awesome badges that we've earned with Google too. Like I said, this is kind of a testament to our commitment to our customers and to the partnership with Google. And rest assured that you do have the right partner in place to take on.
Yeah, and if you have any questions about anything you've heard today, I have a little Q&A here now, but please feel free to reach out to any of us here on that are listed, Mark or Matt and myself and Haley.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining. I know we have more time for this webinar booked on your calendar. So if you have questions, we haven't had anything in the chat, but please feel free if you have them now to put them in there, or you can raise your hand and we can have you speak to our panelists. I'll pause. Oh, actually, I'm seeing a Q&A. Okay, so Tyler said Gemini and Notebook LM are core services in Workspace now and have data security guarantees regarding training on your data. Are there similar specific guarantees? So I'm assuming.
Yeah.
For agent space.
Yeah, for agent space.
Yep. I can actually, here, give me one moment. I can pull those up, but short version is yes. And do you have specific compliance requirements you're looking to address? I will call out that this is definitely a differentiator for Google. So this is going to be a good question to respond to here. I'll share with some resources here in just a second, but are there any specific things you're looking for? All right. Well, I will. The short answer is yes, they are, and I'll get those specific, and they depend basically on the version. So you called out. Rise up. Here we go.
Okay. It looks like Tyler just commented, no, just to develop recommendations.
Yep. Here, give me 1 second. I'll share some links.
Yeah. Okay, while Matthew is finding those, if anyone else have questions, please put them in the chat or the Q&A section. Okay, actually, looks like, thank you, Christina. We have another question. Matthew, do you want to wait on that, or because I know you're sharing the link.
I'm just going to paste this in here, and then I'll
okay.
take a look at the next question here. All right. Where can we find documentation showing limitations specifically for Google for education fundamental accounts? When using Gemini Deep Research, I've received a notification that I am nearing a limit and can generate more. Yeah, I'm assuming can't generate more until a certain date. Yeah, absolutely. I can get those. I'll say the limitations or the capabilities of each level, and we could share that over here. Give me one moment on that one.
Matt, I feel like is the king of links. He always has great links. Always has something to answer all of my questions. Okay, and I'm going to take the compliance link. So it's in the Q&A section under Tyler's question, but I'm just going to pop it in the chat in case anyone else is curious about that answer as well. Okay, and then while you're looking for that link, I'm just going to ask the group. Gary has a question. Does NotebookLM or agent space tools hallucinate? So are these tools, are we seeing them hallucinate much?
I can take that one, and I'll say
Yeah.
It's a tool for sure. And I'll say that some of the limitations, just really quickly, if you did not ground your data, meaning you just started asking questions of, is the sky blue and who was the president in 2500, you're going to get a variety of different answers based on the way that the model was trained, the data it was trained, the way it was trained, weights, other things. That's largely been mitigated with tools like NotebookLM, where the premise, if you look at it, is if you just go chat with NotebookLM, it's not very interesting. In fact, you might be able to. I have never done that, but basically the intent with NotebookLM is for you to share the sources, whether it's from your Google Drive or upload a PDF or point over here and ground or focus and only answer on this information, right? And so by doing that, the hallucinations are dramatically decreased. And I'll say very rarely, if ever, do I see them. And I say if ever, and the reason being is what Haley called out is if you looked at the content, when you were chatting in NotebookLM, for instance, you saw all these links back, which might be distracting at first, but it's tremendously valuable because you can say, this doesn't look right. I know this material really well. I click on it and like, oh, that's why it's saying it, because it's right here in the information I shared with it. And now I'm aware that that information is in there. And I've seen, if you've never played with NotebookLM, please do so. Even things like, hey, go create me a quiz, like on the right-hand side on some of those things. It might not be what you think you want to do, but by doing that, you can go see vocabulary and terms. And you might be aware that like, oh, I wasn't even aware that this acronym was in there, or I can go drill down in that mind map and see where it is. So the hallucinations are largely mitigated both by grounding the data and the reference, the source of like, hey, this is the answer, but here's the reference back to why this is the answer, right? And so it's kind of mirroring a little bit what humans would do to say like, you know, if someone was asking me a question, well, how do you know that? I couldn't just say like, well, I kind of feel like it's right. I mean, I could say that, but that's probably not a good answer. A better answer would be like, well, here's all this documentation and reference material. Let me point back to that, and I can say, this is why I came up with this answer. And that's basically what's happening with the tools. So fantastic question.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. I will be sending out the recording tomorrow. And if you want to know anything else, feel free to reach out. Our contact information is on the screen. Thank you.